I'm Kurt Smith. Welcome to App Talks, a series of conversations with Salesforce.com customers showcasing how business applications can transform the way you manage all aspects of your business. Today I'm joined by Russ Hurl, Head of Sales Development at DoubleDutch, to tell the story about how Russ combines sales management and leadership and technology to drive incredible results at DoubleDutch using InsideSales.com and the PowerDialer app. Welcome, Russ.
Great. It's great to be with you, Kurt. Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about DoubleDutch? What is DoubleDutch?
DoubleDutch is a company that powers private social networking applications for events and conferences. So we work within about a $256 billion industry, and we work with companies ranging from nonprofits like Make-A-Wish Foundation to global multinational companies like IBM and PwC who use our application at their events.
Fantastic. So when you started at DoubleDutch, what was the lay of the land the first time when you walked in the door, swiped your badge on day one? What was it like?
Well, it was actually before I started. There was about 23 employees, and before my very first day, I was actually already installing Salesforce.com and InsideSales.com. And when I started about 2 weeks later, I had the system ready to go. And so my charter was really to very rapidly scale a sales development program. And so I knew that the system, set of system and tools was going to be really important for that.
And you have a PhD from MIT, right, to be able to cobble all this together?
No, I do not. My background is certainly not technical in nature. I've been in sales for 20 years, sales leadership. So the ability to install something on my own without any technical resources at my disposal, that was really important.
And why did you feel it was so important to get Salesforce and Inside Sales up and running and ready to go, even before you hired your first inside sales rep?
Well, for me, it was really important because we're a startup, is to drive the right set of behaviors and really do that right out of the gates. And so one of the things that I wanted to do is really have a culture and an environment where the reps feel like it's okay to make cold calls. And I wanted to drive that type of behavior. So I really needed a system, InsideSales.com within Salesforce, in order to facilitate those types of behaviors. There's a lot more to it than just that, but that was certainly the foundation for making what has happened happen.
And part of your sales methodology is really the importance of calling, of getting on the phone and talking to people, as opposed to just relying on email or some of the more popular aspects now of social selling.
Yeah, social selling is a really interesting topic. We definitely use information that comes from social networks, such as LinkedIn, to inform our cold calls. What I really wanted to do is have our reps on the phone engaging with people in a bilateral fashion. You see, a lot of times what happens is you get information out of the social networks and your reps feel empowered to really just send an email. I always thought, and I still think, that email is really kind of the domain of marketing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a necessary part of your overall outreach strategy. But what I wanted to do is empower the reps and create an environment where it's comfortable, there's no risk, there's no fear of taking risk for them to make cold calls. And I was willing to do it right alongside them, and in fact I do.
And Salesforce and Inside Sales, has that helped with that transparency with the process so that everybody knows exactly where everybody stands?
Oh, absolutely. Within InsideSales.com, we are tracking the number of dials, the number of conversations. We bring that data into Salesforce.com and we put it into leaderboards, dashboards, where at any moment, any of my 35 sales development representatives are able to tell exactly where they stand. And they can see, like, if I'm at 30 calls right now, I need to get to 60 by the end of the day. I better pick up the pace a little bit here. So it's been instrumental in driving those types of behaviors.
And have you seen any change as far as the process about how many emails versus calls because of this transparency?
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to understand was what was the most optimal sequencing of calls and outreach? Was it send an email first and then send a call or leave a voicemail? Was it 3 voicemails before an email? And in fact, the data that we got out of InsideSales.com told us very clearly, after it was plotted into a linear program, exactly the most optimal outreach approach for DoubleDutch. And that happened to be 3 calls before you send an email, then 2 more calls before you send a final email, and then you recycle that contact. So without that type of data, we wouldn't have been able to get those insights to optimize our strategy for outreach to the market.
That's incredible. So with this cadence now and with transparency and the data that you have access to, what kind of growth have you seen?
phenomenal growth. I mean, we've gone from 23 employees when I started up to 140 today. On my team alone, we've gone from 0 to 35. And we're in a market that's predominantly, outbound. So there's not a whole lot of inbound interest coming in. There's not a lot of searches on the internet, on Google for, things that we do. So we have to go create the market, and we literally create it one cold call at a time. And so as a result of that growth and the success of the sales development program, we've tripled our sales in 18 months.
Wow, that's really incredible, Russ.